The question is really what is truth? Yeah, and in order to answer that question, around that time, I started to understand the New Start principles that he presented already. Yeah, and one thing they have in common, and I realized that only after I got sick myself, that these principles are actually showing that disease comes because of being over acidic. Yeah, and if that means that health comes if you're more in an alkaline setting, and then when I figured that out through a book that was given to me when I was sick, and during that time I asked God, Lord, is this true? It made sense to me what I read in that book, yeah. And I asked God, Lord, is this really your principle? Yeah. And so I prayed about it, and I opened my Bible, and I decided to read in Jeremiah something. For thou washest thee with night, and take thee much so, yet thine iniquity is marked before me, says the Lord God. It might not say anything to you right now. It didn't say anything to me when I read it, because I didn't understand night and what's that with soap, and so I went to my German Bible actually then, and then I understood what was meant there. The night and soap, there are two agents, two alkalinizing agents. One you can use internally to alkalinize you, and the other one you could do like an alkaline bath to pull out the toxins through your skin. Yeah. Wow. But it says there, it has one addition there, and that's especially for everyone. I think it would make sense. Yet thine iniquity is marked before me. What is iniquity? That's guilt or something. Like if you are in a stress situation, how does your body react? Yeah, your body gets acidic. Like this morning, I got a WhatsApp message. I didn't want to read it, but I understood right away what it was, and my heart was like, yeah, and I was under stress. And what happens? Then your body, if it's under stress, it's not in the healthiest situation anymore. Yeah. Or if you are upset at someone in Germany, you say, "Wow, he's sour." Yeah. And so with that, there are two aspects in a sense that are important, and that's our lifestyle, how we can create a lifestyle where we have that we are in an alkaline condition physically, yeah, and with that includes trying to have a life without guilt, without stress, and all these things. Yeah, and one good example for that would be what guilt or stress does. My brother-in-law, he was also into teaching health, and he did like a forgiveness seminar once, and he had a person there who was on 5 or 6 medications against high blood pressure, but with that even it could not be barely controlled. Yeah? And so after that person did this forgiveness seminar, or after that person understood what's going on, he was able to forgive. I think it was his father even. Yeah. And with that afterwards, he could get rid of all of the medications he was on, yeah, and that shows, in some cases, and it's actually interesting. Ellen White has one citation where she says, I think that 90% of the disease comes from the wrong nutrition, But in another statement she says 90% is more due to like stress situations or psychological issues. Yeah, this is now very easily said. Yeah, but it shows it's a combination. You know? But and so with that we have to find out really what can we do for our life to be healthy. And one of the things is, of course, the raw food diet. Yeah, and I said I smiled when I read the Google things, because it's there's some truth to it, to what they say, but other things that are not really that we would not probably agree with. Yeah, and so with that, where is this one book that I had? Yeah, here, right? Okay. And one of the things they say is that it is important that food is cooked because of the germ. And it was Pasteur who came up with the germ theory, and it actually led to he was bringing that up. It was about 130 years ago, and when the germ theory came up, and during that time there was a very strong raw food movement also in the world. Yeah, but this germ theory almost destroyed the raw food movement back then. Yeah, because people believed that the germs will kill you, and that's what they teach you today, basically. Still, yeah, it's important that the food is cooked so that the germs, the bacteria, will be destroyed. Yeah, but it's interesting. Towards the end of Pasteur's life, he had to admit that it is said that he admitted that it's most likely not the germs that destroy the health of that kill you at the end, but it's the toxins that accumulated in your body. Yeah, and that the germs they just come up in the places where the toxins are. Yeah, and so with that, in a sense, he retracted what he said, but the damage was done. Yeah, and so with that, I think we are on safe grounds to say that of course in paradise they did not cook anything. Yeah, there was no fire. Fire came only after sin, when the sacrifices started. God gave the first fire there. Yeah. And in paradise, there was no smoke to pollute the air. Yeah, so with that, they didn't cook in paradise the fruit or anything else, or the seeds. Yeah, and like Eude showed already in his statement or in his presentation, that we have an original diet before sin. That's the fruit-based diet, and it talks about the seeds. And if you actually look then in one verse on, it says that the greens are given for the animals. Yeah, so the grass has been given for the animals. Yeah, that's one verse further from where God gave the diet to man. But then after sin, God said, well, it's going to be tough for you now. You will have thorns and thistles in your yard, and you have to sweat while you work and all these things. Yeah, but the sweating is a blessing because it helps us to get out the toxins. Yeah, you can look at it that way too. But God then gave the herbs of the field to men to eat, in addition to the fruits of the tree, and so with that, but we have to remember one thing. Yeah, these herbs of the field, how how can we utilize them in the best way? And the closest, if we stay close to the most original, then we will be in the best situation. We'll get the most nutrition out of it. Because if we would cook it, cooking in most cases destroys 30 to 70% of the phytonutrients and this alters the proteins and all these things. And so with that, we are a lot better off eating things in a raw state. And when we talk about eating seeds, how do we eat seeds in the most original way? How can we do that?
We eat it we eat it alongside the fruits. Like an apple, you can eat the whole apple.
Seeds to eat them alongside with fruits. If you eat them like this, or if you eat the nuts with the fruits at the same time, you create a very acidic situation in your body. Fruits should be eaten alone, just like melons. Why? Melons?
I was talking about the seed of the apple, eating the whole apple.
Yeah. But I'm now talking about not just the seeds of the fruits, but of the other seeds. Yeah. That we find, yeah. Like for example, there would be amaranth or quinoa or what's here? Yeah, and there's other seeds of broccoli seeds and things like this.
So we need to sprout them.
You sprout them,
because
yeah.
otherwise they're hard, you can't eat them.
Exactly, yeah. And in a minute I will ask her to talk about some of the studies there.
We have the queen of the sprouts here. She made, by the way, the sprouts for us on Friday, and she sells it on the market here once per week. Dora, if you want to have alfalfa and broccoli and everything, she's the lady. She's the one. No.
And so everything that causes the body to become acidic, like the wrong food combination, and we hear about that I think tomorrow. Yeah. Everything that causes the body to be more acidic, we have to avoid. So we avoid eating fruits. You can eat them with their seeds, but if you have like nuts now, for example, which don't have anything else around them, if you combine them with a melon or with something else, you will cause your body to become acidic. Yeah, and I don't know. Do you guys know the food pyramid? You know it, very good. Then I don't need to go into that. But that's always important to remember. Yeah, the more refined you are, and the more complex it gets, the more acidic it gets. And all on top of the food pyramid are the sweets. Yeah, and down at the bottom would be then actually. The fruits. Actually, the manna would be at the most bottom, because the manna, from what I just learned last night, has basically a better consistency than anything we know. So with that, now I let my wife present something on germs, on sprouts that she found. Because I think she's a better presenter than me. No. She is.
Obrigado.
Thank you.
Nice. Let me just say a few scientific, because I would ask us to say a little bit of scientific studies about it. Just some thoughts, just little things, very little. One was 3,000 years before Christ, so many years ago, 3,000 before Christ. In China, the emperor of China had a little book. It was a book about healing methods of the body, like which sickness they used what. For this sickness they used that. And it is written there that they used constantly to heal illnesses, and not only Chinese but Japanese also people, with sprouts, especially mung beans, azuki beans, soya beans, and barley. They sprouted barley. And they usually made it, even the grass from what we know today as wheatgrass and barley, they used that at that time in a daily basis. Wow. And it became the part of their daily food. And today when you go to Japan, you know that they do this soya milk and they do sprouts and mung bean sprouts. But it is with time, now that's interesting, with centuries going on, the less and less they use it, because the American style or Western style of food takes over. So it kind of pushes out the sprouts. You probably heard about Captain Cook. It's Captain Cook, who was an amazing captain of a boat, was very famous, discovering the world. And Captain Cook, you know that at those times they had the problem with the scorbut, that the vitamin C was missing. And usually more than half of the matrosen, they died when they arrived. So that was actually the situation. And he decided he doesn't want that. And what he did, he had a great success. He had one of the trips where it took 3 years to go from one part to another, almost without stop. And then people had to be fed 3 years. What did he do? And he did sprouted mung beans and beans, as sprouted them and made food for them with sprouts. And that's how not one died after 3 years arriving to England back. No, nobody died. And then another study was in a university in Purdue, I don't know where that is, Dr. Tsai. He studied about the sprouts of beans and grains. And he said that from all the food groups in the world he examined, this is what had the most rich of everything, what you need for a human person. And Dr. Grda from University of Chicago, he made studies on animals. I just shorten it very quickly. He made studies with animals, and he wanted to see which is the food group or the food which can be used exclusive to keep the body healthy, and to use it generation after generation, and to realize that these are the sprouts without anything else adding to it. And Dr. Bruckholder from Yale University said that when what is Hafer in English? Hafer in English, just say me the word. Oats, thank you. When they sprout the oats, that is just an example. I found many studies, but just this little thing. The vitamin B12 will be elevated in 1,300%.
Oh wow.
The biotin, 50%. B2, I said B2. B2, I said not 12. You misunderstand it, I said B2.
No, you said B12.
Yes, you said before.
I'm so sorry. No, B2 goes, thank you for correcting. 1,300%. The biotin is 50%. Inosita, I don't know what it is, goes also 50%. And pantothensoide is a sour, I don't know how you say it in English, pantothen acid. It goes 200%. Vitamin B6 is 500%. I have a folsäure, what is that in English? Folic acid, 600%. I have a book about sprouts, and you can look at them even in internet. When you sprout certain things, how much percent it goes up, it blows, you are blown away. Really, it is the truth. And then there was Dr. McKay from the Cornell University in US during the Second World War. They asked scientists, please figure out some kind of food which doesn't have too much weight, so the soldiers can take it to the war and keeps them healthy. And so the scientists, this Dr. McKay, they jumped into the work and they realized that it has to be sprouted beans, like especially soya and grains. It has to be the ones which wins in every way. The same thing with Dr. Pottenger. I'm going to mention him very briefly in a moment. He also worked in a laboratory with rats and also with the Meerschweinchen. I don't know how to say it in English.
Guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs.
Guinea pigs. Thank you. Guinea pigs. And then he realized that if he feeds them only with sprouts, nothing else, they got only sprouts for several generations, and they were not only healthy, but they were thriving.
Wow, so they only fed them sprouts.
Only with sprouts, nothing else. Nothing else. And he tried then with the different groups, he tried with vegetables and stuff, it didn't work. He tried several food groups, I just shortened it up. It worked only with the sprouts. So coming back to the Pottenger, Dr. Pottenger made this study with 900 cats. 900 cats. And then he separated these cats to very two groups. They all got the same food. They don't tell which one. They got the same food. One group received it all cooked. The other received all raw. So this was the difference. The cats which received all raw, they were very healthy. They were strong. They have never suffered any disease. They were very, very happy animals, no problems at all. And they never had premature death. Now the second group, the cats, which received the same food but in the cooked version, they developed heart disease, cancer, kidney and thyroid disease, pneumonia, paralysis, loss of teeth, arthritis, birthing difficulties, diminished sexual interest, diarrhea, irritability, liver problems, osteoporosis. You don't have to translate that.
But what kind of raw food were they given? Because cats are carnivorous.
I don't know. Probably.
So they gave them like...
Gloria, I don't know. It doesn't say. They said
yeah, because that's quite
they
interesting.
probably got meat.
So raw meat versus cooked, raw fish versus cooked fish.
But our cat, for example, also eats sprouted barley.
Yeah?
Sprouted what?
Yeah, barley, yeah,
barley.
but they do that to clean themselves, don't they? To purge
We
them.
give them because we sprout a lot and we give them a little bit. And then we
Otherwise
realize
they
they
don't
like it.
prepare it, yeah.
They
The
like it
cat from a
actually.
friend of mine has always eaten avocados.
Yeah, they love
Like
avocados.
not only one
But
avocado,
that's
like
not
all
healthy.
avocados. But we always
They
fed
say
Buys the pig. Now I continue.
but it smells good.
It smells very
Me,
good.
the smell that comes from
Wow,
that direction.
delicious
is not bad.
smell.
So, come to the second, the last, the Great American Rat Experiment. And I'll finish with this because I think the time is so short. If you want, we can continue, but I finish with this now. The Great American Rat Experiment, this is the best ever learned. This is actually what we teach when we have people in our home. And I always tell the patients, if you understand this one experiment, you understood everything, and you know what, when we treat somebody, why we do it and what we do, is because of this experiment. So, there are again many, it is American and Japanese experiment, not only one person in this time. Raw versus cooked again. Now, they do it smarter now. The situation is smarter than the other one, because they do 3 groups instead of 2, a little bit more details. And many times our patient says, but nobody eats only cooked food, so it doesn't apply to us. People eat also apple and also strawberry. You don't eat only cooked fish all your life, yeah? And yes, answers the questions for those people who wants to be a little bit more details, knowledge about this. This raw versus cooked is more detailed. So now we have 3 groups of rats. The first number 1 is the best one. They receive everything raw. But what? They experience fruits, vegetables, and nuts and seeds. You know, for them, rats has to chew. Yeah, but they don't get meat. Fruits, vegetables, and things to chew, nuts, seeds. Yeah. Now, what happened is they did the experiment for all 3 groups for 80 years. For humans, 80 years of age. 80. I don't know how old rats can get. I haven't looked after it, but for humans 80, for rats maybe 10 or 5. I have no idea how long rats are living, or 2 or 3. But just think about humans, 80, okay? 80 years is for rats, is probably 1 or 2, I have no idea. So what happened is that the first group of rats who received only raw fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds, they were always happy, they were strong, they never had any problems with becoming pregnant, having babies, no pain with the birth. It's very interesting. We cannot come to all of these things. I have other books about that, but they were always passionate and loving and caring, never did anything bad against each other. And when they arrived 80, each one of them reached 80 years of age, they killed them, autopsied them, and they saw that they had no sign of aging. Nothing. They looked like a 20 years old human rat, I would say. They looked healthy, strong, 0 problem. We jumped to the second group. I just shorten it as much as I can. The second group of rats, they received good things and bad things. They received raw food and they received cooked food. They received vitamins and minerals, and that's very interesting. Many people say they just continue eat the way they do. They go like fry a little bit that stuff and make like little bolo, you know, like cakes and stuff. But they take their what is that? Vitamins, minerals, and supplements. That's the word I'm looking for. Healthy supplements, expensive supplements, and they expect that they will be well. Well, now you're gonna listen to this. These animals received white bread, whole wheat bread, cooked and uncooked, salad and Coca-Cola. They received anything you could, anything how a person usually would eat, this and that. Now, they all got sick. They all got sick, and then they treated them with medications, with probiotics, with very expensive. They treated them better than a doctor his patients. Got supplements, got anything, natural, unnatural, synthetic, not synthetic. Everything you could imagine in the world they got. Nothing helped. It's just like a little fresh breeze in a hot summer day, but not more. It didn't solve their problems. The diseases stayed and got so bad. And the problem was, in addition, they started to steal each other's food. They wanted to kill each other. They formed groups to go against each other. And then in order to prevent total destruction of this group, they were forced to separate them in various small groups. Just like when you turn on the television, see the same thing. War here, war there, stealing here, murder, exactly, and diabetes and cancer and autoimmunity. This is exactly what you see. Now, very few of them survived the 80 years of age. Very few. Most of them died before.
I have to throw in, I looked it up in the internet, and if you take good care of a rat at home, you might manage to live for 5 years.
Okay,
so that's probably
that's
about 80
probably.
years, yeah.
Okay, thank you. I never knew.
Yeah. But they say in the wild they probably won't make it to here
Okay.
Oh wow.
because of the enemies
Enemies
there.
and the situation. Now, coming back to the third group, yes, we finished with the second. Oh, they autopsied them, the ones who survived, the very few of them. And they were not, some people say, oh, I just have a flu constantly and have a headache. No, if you have one problem, usually you have many. It's not just, oh, I have just headache, otherwise I'm healthy. They realize their skin, their hair, their glands, their nervous system, everything was really ruined. So they were absolutely a nervous wreck from the brain till the food, everything was sick. Now, coming to the third group of the animals. The third group of the animals is my group, and welcome in my group. It's most amazing. And listen, because if you understand this little thing, then you understand everything about health. The following happened with these rats. The first 40 years, 2.5 years or whatever, the first 40 years of their lives, they received exactly the same diet as the group number 2. Good things, bad things, mixed. They had to separate them in several groups. Many died in diseases and in illnesses despite of taking care of them very well. But it didn't help. They were stealing and they were angry, they had problems with birth difficulties, and the babies were born sometimes were sick already from birth. Now, what they did when the ones who reached the 40 years of age, and separated them of course, in several days. When they reached 40 years of age, as a half of their life cycle, they did now listen this is what we try to do at home. They put them on a very long fast, which is several days. For humans, it's a long time, because for a little animal to fast them several days, they said they put them several days, means a very long fast. And then they broke the fast. I suspect it was water fast. This is a classical way to do it, but I don't know. Probably it had to be. And then after the several days of long fast, they broke the fast with raw food. They received the same food as the first group of the rats. And then after their weight returned, because you have to do it with understanding fasting, you don't fast without end. They broke the fast, they gave them fruits and vegetables, and they did a second long fast. And then after the second one, they broke the fast, they fed them again with the food for the first group, raw foods and vegetables and nuts and seeds. And then they did a third long fast. See, it doesn't look like it is. After the third long fast, then they broke the fast and they gave them only raw fruits and vegetables. And what happened? They completely restored. And interesting, they wrote in the book, there are many kind of diseases. They had like some diabetes, the other autoimmune disease, the third had cancer, and the fourth had or multiple things. All of the diseases were gone from this one simple method. Wow. All of it. They didn't do, this medication for you, this for you, this for you, this for you. They did the same thing with all animals, that all the diseases went away. And then they never stole the food. They didn't want to kill each other anymore. So they thought, okay, because it's a sickness of the nervous system, yeah. They joined them again in one big group the way they started out. And nobody ever wanted to steal, nobody ever wanted to kill, and they united them happily, never had birthing difficulties, and when they had reached 80 years, each one of them reached 80 years of age, they autopsied them, and they were, now this is beautiful, they were exactly the same as a group number 1. Oh, wow. No sign of anything, no sign, and now I'm going to read these last few sentences and then we finish it here. Not my sentences, I wrote it from the article, you can find it in the internet. It says that when they were autopsied, there were no signs of aging. Listen to me, no signs of aging. Age is not toxic, it's just a number. no sign of aging or any deterioration or any disease, just as it was in the first group. The disease, deterioration of body parts evident in their first half of their life had been completely reversed, and excellent health restored. And listen to just try to listen to this. The same principles applies to human life. The scientists write, for there is only one truth. Thus it may be concluded that the sick people may be restored to complete health simply by choosing the proper diet, and we know which one is now, and fasting, and observing also the other rules of health, what we talked about, the New Start principle. And this is what I want to keep for you now in your mind, to keep rest this in your mind, how they dealt with them, how they healed them, and what they received. And I have just, after finishing this little presentation, just one question, and you can answer or you don't want to answer, doesn't matter. What would have happened if they say, because it happens very often with patients, my cancer is gone, I'm well. I did my fastings, I did my raw food diet, I did my juice fast, whatever I did, and the doctor says you are a clean paper, you have nothing. And then he says, so
Now I can do
I can go back to the group number 2.
Agora posso voltar ao grupo número 2.
I'm gonna eat my garbage, I eat cooked food, I'm gonna eat my chocolate, I'm gonna eat my cake, and I bake a little again. But I fast once in a while, I take my medication, and I take my expensive supplements. You go back to that group number 2, what will happen?
I'll get ill again.
Yes, and some patients, they says, you know what? I was healed, but it came back again.
You came back.
But it's my fault. It came back again. Did you continue the path? Oh no, but you know why did it come back? You put the rats back to the group number 2. Just take a little time, and you can watch the rat get sick again. So I just wanted to keep this for you. Of course, you decide in which group you will be. You can make limbo between 2 groups, of course. Many people do it that way. It's entirely a personal decision. But this is, don't forget, there is only one truth. And that's not my opinion. Thank you so much for your attention.
And maybe I finish it up with one thought. In the last chapter of the Bible, in the book of Revelation, in verse 2, it talks about the tree of life, which he mentioned already, has for every month a special fruit. And when we will be there, we will be meeting there every month for that special treat, I guess. But it says in there also that the leaves are for the healing of the nations. So with that, the greens we should not neglect. And as you know, Ellen White has a statement where she talks about eating the seeds or the diet in the closest original way possible, the least modified. And with that, we might want to try out some sprouting because that's probably the best way to get greens and what our lifestyle can offer for us in order to receive good health or to maintain good health.
We are basically mainly eat fruits, but we started to use sprouts quite regularly, and we elevated the greens, like green smoothies or green juices, and we noticed very much change, as a big changes in our health.
What changes did you notice?
Much more energy, the hair is not falling out, the fingernails are stronger, the skin getting smoother. Of course, with fruits also, but it happens, but sometimes when you eat too much fat, like lots of gourmet, things, and with time you reduce the juices, like the greens, You know, it depends, because if you are living in a surrounding where you don't buy your fruits, but you have it in your garden, like living in the tropics or in Thailand, you might not need the greens there. Yeah? But for me, I do need it. I do need it, and I have it in the garden. And I find it awesome when I blend it with bananas and with water, like to make green smoothies. I feel, I can't tell you why, but I feel much better after having high level of greens than to leave it out. Energy ways, you are not getting sick easily, you don't. Okay, with the fruit diet, people say the same things. But when I look at people, I just, in my opinion, I have to stop probably. When I look, it's just a question, you can cut it out. When I look at people in a raw food community who have been eating only fruits, there are very few of them though. And compared with the ones who are high in sprouts and high in greens in addition, they look much younger and stronger. The difference is huge with age. The others, they look like their age. That's what I see. You can disagree with me, please. You can. Exercise, come to it, and other things too. But when I see those people who have fruits and sprouts and high in greens, that's a different level. So
And usually they are a bit higher in fat also.
Can be, yes, and you can do that too then. But this is just our, we go a lot of it, yes.
So do you agree with the 80-10-10 diet, or you think it should be, as he's saying, a little bit higher, fatter?
You know, with an 80-10-10 book, I'm 100% agreed with the ratio, but we don't really do it. We don't do it in, sometimes, let's put it that way. There are days when we don't eat fat at all, nothing at all, maybe only fruits, and it is not a rare day. Or I just eat fruits and sprouts and maybe a green smoothie. That is most majority, but there are some days when I say there are days when I want to eat fat, like avocado, but then I don't eat a quarter avocado. Then I eat a guacamole, maybe with some cracker, you know, that I sit down and enjoy my meal, which is tasting then very good. And I don't have a bad conscience, because the next day, I don't desire much fat every day, because it just satiates. Then you do, let's put it this way, then you do a big cleanse, but that's a first step. Maybe you do, you know, you cannot just, I cannot just tell you, Benjamin, why don't you start a raw food diet tomorrow? Just eat anything raw. No, you won't be able to assimilate it and digest it well. Forget it. I don't say forget it, but you need to do like this. Have a big cleanse. Decide, maybe do a juice cleanse if you don't want to do a fast. Or do like a monofruit, like a watermelon for 1 month. But do anything to cleanse your body when there is no fat and it is fruit-based. Do something for a long term. And when you can manage it, then your body switches, you can digest better, and then you will desire, and you repeat it once and twice like here, your stomach, you're gonna react, you're not gonna want to eat a lot of fat. If I eat like a guacamole, the next day I usually tell Lothar, no, I can't. You know, it is, I'm not used to it anymore, so too much fat, and the body doesn't want it. So the more you cleanse your system, the better it can help you to say, you know, it was fine today, but tomorrow I will not. I don't desire it tomorrow.
Actually, you know, when you start then eating several days after each other, so much guacamole or avocados, you feel
sick.
it. It's just like
really
if you go back to cooked food, yeah.
Or you eat a lot of nuts like this, yeah. And I can guarantee you that
because your body is over-acidic.
Next day you have no energy, just like you
over-acidify.
Yeah, just like you have eaten cooked food.
And your body lets you know the cleaner you were before, the more you will feel it, probably.
Yeah. Do you consider one avocado a day
Too much.
too much?
Yeah. I wouldn't say that. That's not a high amount of fat. Depends on what kind of sauce you make for your salad. Yeah, it all adds up together. But if you say 1 avocado a day, that sounds like fine.
Without any seeds, without any...
Especially, listen to me, the diabetes, the problem with when we are, there are two directions of a raw food diet, two main streams. One is the less people do it, is a fruit-based raw vegan. That's what we also promote, like Graham promotes and Raphael promotes. That's a fruit-based. Then is another another group which is much many more people. That we use fat-based raw food, like gourmet. You know, when you do not eat fruits almost at all, or very little amount, because they are a high fat. If you have high fat, you should not eat a lot of fruits, and they know that because you get diabetes. But what we figured out a little bit, like, or many other people, not we, you know. When you want a raw food diet, when you have a lot of fruits, you have to keep the fat low. But if you, but if you elevate with the fruits, the greens, and have also for your salad regularly sprouts over it, then this clash between fat and sugar in the fruit is not as dramatic, you know, because the sprouts and the greens, they work direct against diabetes. So it helps you. It helps you actually.
Guys, can we eat something? It's 7:15. I'm hungry.
The kitchen.
Benjamin, we are finished for a while.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's great.